The station was still there. Every 90 minutes, it circled Earth, following the same path it had followed for months. Sunlight still struck its hull. Radar could still see it. Telescopes could still find it. Yet something essential had disappeared. Salyut 7 had stopped answering. From the ground, controllers watched a destination become strangely unreachable. Signals that should have been returning no longer came back. Commands produced no response. The station remained in orbit, physically present, but it was no longer behaving like a station. It was behaving like an object. At first, there was still room for optimism. Spacecraft suffer failures. Systems shut down. Communications can be restored. Engineers searched for explanations that fit the evidence. The problem was that evidence kept disappearing. Without communication, nobody could see inside. Without telemetry, nobody knew which systems were alive and which had already failed. The station continued circling Earth in silence, carrying its answers with it. The image was unsettling. A habitat built to support people was still floating above the planet, but nobody could tell whether it remained a habitat at all. As the weeks passed, another realization became harder to ignore. If Salyut 7 could not be controlled, it could not be used. If it could not be used, it risked becoming a permanent loss. The destination had not vanished. Control had. That loss changed the mission completely. Engineers could no longer assume they would solve the problem from the ground. Remote recovery grew less certain with every orbit. Options narrowed. One by one, the station's missing systems removed the safer paths to recovery. Eventually, only one meaningful possibility remained. People would have to go there. A Soyuz spacecraft was prepared for a mission unlike the station visits that normally occurred in orbit. Crews usually approached a destination that was functioning. Radar systems assisted. Automated systems cooperated. The station itself helped guide the final approach. Salyut 7 could do none of those things. The crew would be traveling toward a target that could not participate in its own rescue. As Soyuz closed the distance, the station appeared through the windows. It looked intact. No explosion scars. No obvious structural damage. No sign of catastrophe visible from outside. That created a new question. If the station still looked normal, what had actually happened to it? The closer the spacecraft came, the more unusual the situation became. The crew could not rely on the station to assist docking. Range estimates and closing speeds became matters of human judgment. The target drifted silently ahead of them. A destination was waiting, but it could not help anyone arrive. The approach succeeded. Against enormous uncertainty, the Soyuz crew manually docked with the unresponsive station. For a moment, it seemed like the mission's greatest obstacle had been overcome. The rescue had reached its destination. Then the hatch opened. Darkness filled the interior. The station was cold. Not merely cool, but deeply chilled after losing the systems that normally sustained life and operation. Frost covered surfaces inside. Equipment sat motionless. The air carried the signs of a place that had been left unattended by the very systems designed to keep it alive. The image overturned the audience's understanding of the story. Docking was not the rescue. Docking had only revealed the patient. The station still existed. Its structure remained. Its modules remained connected. But a functioning destination had become something else. A critically ill machine. The crew now faced a challenge that no approach maneuver could solve. They had to discover whether enough of the station remained alive to bring the rest back. Inside the frozen darkness, recovery began with the simplest necessities. Power. Without power, nothing else mattered. The station's batteries became a focus of attention. Electrical systems were examined. Connections were checked. Small successes produced larger possibilities. Each restored circuit allowed another system to be tested. The process did not feel like a dramatic repair. It felt like restarting a body. A little power returned. Then a little heat. Then another system awakened. Progress remained fragile. Every recovered capability depended on another capability beneath it. A failure anywhere in the chain threatened everything above it. The audience could finally see the station's condition through visible reality. Lights appeared where darkness had dominated. Equipment that had been silent began responding. Temperature slowly climbed. Yet uncertainty never fully disappeared. Recovery was possible. Recovery was not guaranteed. As power returned, another challenge emerged. The station had to regain control of itself. A space station cannot simply exist in orbit. Its orientation matters. Solar panels must face the sun. Energy must continue flowing. Systems must remain supported. The frozen interior had revealed the symptoms. Now the crew was confronting the deeper illness. Lost control. One recovered function enabled another. One restored subsystem unlocked the next stage of work. The station slowly moved from survival toward operation. But there remained a final test. Could it function as a destination again? A station that can barely sustain itself is not truly recovered. Recovery would only become real if the station could support normal operations once more. The answer arrived not through a speech or announcement, but through another spacecraft. Support missions depend on a station's ability to maintain orientation, manage power, and participate in docking operations. If those conditions failed, the recovery would remain incomplete. The restored systems held. Attitude control returned. Solar orientation improved. The station that had drifted beyond reliable control began behaving like a station again. Eventually, supply support became possible. New arrivals could interact with the outpost that only months earlier had seemed destined for abandonment. The destination was becoming reachable. Not because the original failure had been erased. Because human judgment had replaced what automation could no longer provide. The story began with a station that stopped answering. A silent structure continued orbiting Earth, while gradually losing the qualities that made it useful. From a distance, it looked present. Up close, it revealed a frozen interior, dead systems, and a chain of failures hidden behind silence. For a time, the most convincing explanation was that the station was finished. Yet the rescue revealed something different. Salyut 7 had not become a ruin. It had become trapped behind lost control. In orbit after orbit, system after system, that control was reclaimed. The final image is not the frozen darkness discovered after docking. It is the same station later holding its orientation, supporting arrivals, and functioning once more as a destination. The object that once drifted silently overhead had become reachable again. The habitat survived because, when automation disappeared, people supplied the missing control themselves.